The sound of a glass clinking sliced through the laughter. My sister lifted her wine with a smug grin, looking like someone who thought she'd already won. "Just knock down a wall," she declared, her voice carrying across the backyard. "We'll be here long term, so we'll need our own entrance." The guests laughed nervously, unsure how to react. My mom raised her glass too, adding with a smirk, "Practical idea." And just like that, they all toasted to my house as if it already belonged to them. I didn't argue. I simply lifted my glass, locked eyes with everyone, and said one word: noted. Minutes later, the party rolled on as though nothing had happened. But the next morning, my phone rang. Mom, panicked. This was nothing new. My family had always mistaken my silence for weakness. I was the soft one, the one they leaned on until I was bent to breaking. Buying this house was supposed to change that. Finally, I had something that was only mine. 4 walls, a deed with just my name. But ownership doesn't guarantee respect, not with them. The warning signs were all there. My sister's kids dumping their backpacks by the door like they already lived here. Mom calling the guest room their wing. The way they stopped asking if they could stay and instead just told me when they would. At first it was subtle, then it became shameless. That toast wasn't a joke, it was their mask slipping. But I didn't break down, I didn't explode, I planned. They wanted me to look like the villain if I said no. Cold, selfish, ungrateful. So, I decided to let them build their own trap. Step 1. The lease. While they were drunk on their own entitlement, I quietly drafted a rental agreement. Every detail was airtight. Late fees, eviction terms, signatures required if anyone stayed longer than 2 weeks. The next morning I left the papers on the kitchen counter. When my sister stumbled in, hungover, and smug, I slid the stack toward her. "Since you're so eager to stay long-term," I said evenly, "let's make it official." Her smile disappeared. Mom stiffened. "Family doesn't need contracts," she snapped. I just smiled back. "Then family won't mind signing." They refused, of course. They yelled, accused, and tried to shame me, but the seed was planted. I wasn't going to be pushed around. Step 2. The locks. While they raged about betrayal, I called a locksmith. Every door rekeyed, every window secured, cameras installed at the entrances. They called me paranoid. I called it prepared. But step 3 was the real hit. I filed notice with the county about unauthorized tenants. A few forms, a simple statement, that's all it took. If they tried squatting, it wouldn't be a family fight. It would be a legal case. Suddenly, their long-term stay wasn't cozy. It was trespassing. Suddenly, their plan had consequences. By the time Mom called me, she was shaking. She'd already heard from a neighbor who worked at the county office. My report was on file. If she or my sister so much as left a toothbrush here, I had the right to call the sheriff. "You wouldn't really do that, would you?" she asked, her voice trembling. I let the silence stretch. Then I said, "You raised a practical child. Isn't that what you wanted?" That night they showed up, pale and brittle. My sister tried pleading. "We didn't mean it like that." I tilted my head. "You raised a glass to it." Mom tried guilt. "After everything we've done for you," I cut her off. "You mean after everything I've paid for you?" Silence. That was the end of it. Instead of moving in, they slunk back to their cramped apartment. Their laughter, their mockery, their entitlement, all gone. The house was mine again, quiet again. And I learned something that day. Love without boundaries isn't love. It's a leash. Respect doesn't come from blood. It comes from consequences. They wanted to carve a hole in my home to claim what wasn't theirs. Instead, I carved them out of my life, clean and final. Now, when I sit in the backyard with a glass of wine, I sometimes hear my sister's words replaying, "Knock down a wall." And I laugh, because I did knock something down. Not the wall of my house, but the wall of their illusion. And behind it, there was nothing waiting for them. Only me.